that they wanted an opportunity for teachers to have a refresher course on running records. I wanted to correlate what I was talking about to the resources that you have. So in your PowerPoint slides that you have copies of, as much as possible, I've referenced it into Jan Richardson's book so that you have places you can go to read more about that. If I could only do one assessment, if there was some law that said you may only do one reading assessment, you're not allowed to ask the children anything else, I would do a running record. It gives me more information than anything else that I could do. And running records originally were developed actually concurrently back in the late 60s, early 70s by Mari Clay, who developed reading recovery, and by Ken Goodman, who out of Arizona, no, University of Arizona, not looking at reading instruction as much as analyzing process. What are kids doing when they read? And right around the same time, Mari Clay was out of New Zealand, so we had on opposite sides of the earth people coming to the same understandings and developing this thing that we call running records. And it was not something that you needed to have the text written down for you. And in fact, I wanted, just this morning, I thought, you're my first group, I'm going to try this. You'll let me know if this was good or not. In your guided reading book, if you have it, on page 41, I want to read a story to you. Jan Richardson was working on her doctoral studies. And in this little anecdote that she writes about, she says that there are lots of kits out there where you can take running records, everything's there that you need. But she says, you don't need a kit. Any text and a blank sheet of paper will do. So she tells the story that during her doctoral studies, she worked with a woman named Winnie who had contacted the university to get help with reading. Winnie was 74 years old and could not read. I met her in a local restaurant and asked her why she wanted to learn to read now, at her age. She told me she wanted to read the Bible to the old folks in the nursing home. Okay, right then I started, like, getting weepy. Right then I made a commitment to her and myself that I would teach her how to read. I hadn't brought an assessment kit with me, so I asked Winnie to do the best she could to read the menu. She smiled shyly and she said she might not do too well because she needed new glasses. I grabbed a napkin off the table and took a running record as she read the menu. As I analyzed her attempts and errors, I realized she knew quite a few sight words but had no strategies for figuring out unknown words except looking at the pictures. For 6 weeks, I went to Winnie's house to teach her how to read. We specifically worked on strategies such as using meaning, finding known parts, and using analogies to figure out tricky words. At our last visit, I gave her a new Bible, a contemporary version written at a 4th grade level. Tears filled her eyes as she read a few verses and said, I would never go to Bible study before because I was afraid they would call on me to read. I guess I can start going now. A running record taken on a napkin was the first step to helping Winnie become a reader. It's not about the kit. It's about understanding the reading process and knowing how to record what a student is doing, analyze their attempts, and then making instructional decisions from that. Now, she goes on to say that comprehension is, of course, important. And she was taking a running record, I think it was a 6th grade student, who read to her, and then she said to the girl, so tell me about what you read. And the girl said, you mean I'm supposed to remember what I read? And she was serious. I'm sure we all have those stories. I was reading with a little 1st grader once, and he was reading at grade level, and he read it perfectly. And I said, so Jason, tell me about what you read. And he said, I don't know, I wasn't paying attention. And he was serious. So it's about the process. It's about the process.